What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Aftersound here, bringing you Splinterlands content every single day. We also stream right here on this channel as well as on Twitch, so make sure you come by and say hello. This video is also brought to you by my music, which is available anywhere you stream music under the name Aftersound, and I do have a new song out recently called Dreamin' the Deep Source Remix, so check it out. Let me know what you think, and I appreciate the support. Okay, guys, let's talk about SPS, and specifically the fact that we have over 1 billion SPS staked. This is a significant milestone just from the numbers. Does it mean anything else right now? I would argue and say probably not, right? Like it's cool. It's a nice round number. We're at 1 billion staked. There's 3 billion total SPS that will ever be minted. Obviously, there's even less of that now because we've burned 233 million. So what are the potential short-term, long-term ramifications of this? Okay, so let's take a quick look at this. So for a refresher for anybody that may have forgotten, or for any of the new players that are in the game now, there are 3 billion SPS tokens that will be minted or are in the process of being minted. Actually, no, let me take that back. They have been all minted already. They just haven't all been distributed. A lot of them are sitting in the DAO and the DAO reserve. As you can see right here, there's almost 1 billion in there. So from that 3 billion, so far we've burned 233 million, which is a significant amount burned. I don't know if they have the percentage here still, but once we get to 300 million, that's closing in on 10% of the entire supply being burned, which is obviously very significant in the long run. But as you can see here, we got about 1.4 billion that is currently circulating and 1 billion that is staked. You got, a couple hundred million that is currently off chain, either on Hive Engine, Ethereum, or BSC. And then, as I was saying earlier, you got 560 million in the DAO and 411 million in the DAO reserve. So that's a significant amount, right? That comprises of that 2.7 billion that is considered part of the supply, right? We're just going to count out everything that's been burned. And then, of course, you can see here how much is designated for future rewards, whether it's ranked play, whether it's land, whether it's staking, whether it's others. So all in all, I don't know how much is liquid out there currently, but just doing some rough math, right? You can see there's 1.4 billion that's currently circulating. I would assume, and you know what happens when we assume, but I would assume that 1.4 billion is currently what's not in the DAO, which is why it's considered circulating. So we have more than 2/3 of that staked currently. Now, there's obviously a good amount that's either sitting in other areas, in either LPs or in LPs, right? Will probably be the main area in which they are. But I don't know how much of that, the reason I bring that up is because I don't know what the velocity required to really get upward movement on SPS is going to be in order for us to see something significant. Now, a future video that I'm going to do is when is the flywheel going to get started? I'm going to do an update on that based on how much the team has in terms of their DEC holdings currently and when they'll flip to start buying SPS. But all in all, 1 billion SPS staked, again, it's a cool number. I don't think it means much now currently, only for the simple fact that it's just a number, right? It's a milestone and it's cool to see, but it doesn't really have any impact economically, at least not at this point. We would need to see significant demand for SPS to come in order for us to see that supply shock, right? That supply constraint or feel that supply constraint, I would say. So I'm happy about it. It's fun to talk about, but all in all, I think it's kind of a big nothing burger, if I'm being honest. And again, you can, or anybody can, unstake their SPS and it'll be out in a month, right? 4 weeks to be specific. So it's not like this is locked in there for long periods of time. At the end of the day, though, it's great to see, and we are now, I would say, 4 years into SPS as a token, right? It came out in July, I believe, of 2021. So we're seeing a significant amount out there in terms of what has been minted so far, or I should say distributed so far, in terms of how much has been burned so far, and, more importantly, how much is yet to come. So the thing is, obviously, the DAO is still sitting on almost another billion here, and we'll have to decide on where that's going to be spent. Obviously, some of it is allocated already with the reward pools, but as the game continues to grow, maybe more game modes, something like survival mode, right, or whatever they decide to expand on in the future, maybe there'll be campaign modes where you can earn, right, all of these different things, we are going to need SPS for that. Now, at the end of the day, there's one number that is way more important than the amount staked. And to me, that is the amount burned. Now, again, I always look at burning as how should I put it? It's just a marketing gimmick, right? It's just a marketing gimmick, and it doesn't matter until it matters. And what I mean by that is something similar to the staked amount. It doesn't matter until there's enough demand that the supply constraint or the supply shock is actually felt. So yeah, it's like, look, we've burned almost 10% of the supply, which means that there's only 90%, but the demand for that 90% is like non-existent, right? Like, if anything, the demand is really only for 33%, and we got 90% of it floating around out there, right? So it's like burning it doesn't matter, staking it doesn't matter. What we need is either A, new people to come into the game and buy SPS and hold it for the long term in the way that many of us are doing, or B, or I should say, and or B, and this is probably the more important one, we need for more products to come out, whether that's just, regular things within the game, whether that's just the regular burning of DEC. We need more activity, economic activity. We need more products. We need more things that will burn SPS for DEC, and then of course more sinks for that DEC, so that we burn in turn more. We in turn burn more SPS, right? So keep this cycle going, so that supply shock is felt in the long run. Now, again, I'll do a separate video talking about where we're at from DEC standpoint with the team. And, my rough timeline was for September or mid-September, when we would start to see a potential purchasing from the team of SPS off the market, which could be, an interesting time if, the rest of the market starts to pick up, although September is not fantastic. So maybe it'll be October, but I'll get into that in a separate video. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Otherwise, I'll catch you all in the next one and see you around the game.